Alright, so mission accomplished. But as always, we want to do kind of an after action review on this. So, as you can see right here is a nice shiny new tool. This actually spent the entire time we were doing this in the box. I did buy it whenever I broke the bead on the John Deere R4 back tire. It never ended up getting used because my dealership is awesome. If more than 100 people looked at my videos, I would do a specific shout out to them. But they're good people. But let's talk about that. That's optional, and so is that, to be completely honest. But this right here is all you actually need, and a hose and water, I guess. This is all you actually need to fill the tires of your tractor with water. I will say that if you don't have relatively high pressure water, you might have issues. The pressure that I have from my well is very, very high, and I tone it down just a little bit. But optional, bead seeder, and a real air compressor. Those are something that you're probably going to want to have just in case, but totally optional. This is all you actually need. This you can get probably just about anywhere, but this guy here is something specific that my dealership had, and they took me right over there, and I looked at it and I was like, yeah, okay. It screws into your hose, and my phone doesn't like to focus. There we go. It screws right into your hose, screws right into the what's left of your stem if you pull the whole dang thing out, not just the internal part, but the external part. I think he called it a core. You're going to want to try to make sure that you have the least amount of air in your tire as possible, but there will be some in there unless you do what I did, and then you're going to need that and possibly that. This little guy right here allows you to evacuate some of that air, and it's very, very helpful. Obviously, you're going to want to cut the water off while you're doing that. Hit it, let all the air out that you possibly can, and then fill it right back up. Rather than have too little pressure in my tires, I ended up with too much, and we were able to just bleed that out with a standard backside of your $1 tire gauge. And let's go over here. So I strategically placed the tractor, although I probably should have pushed it a little bit farther forward. So I did go ahead and test it out and see kind of what we could do with it that we couldn't do before. And I took my heavy hitch tooth bar and my big fat water-filled back tires, and I drove straight into a pile of fairly well-packed dirt that I had evacuated from my paddock over there on the other side of the walkway. And it's a game changer. There are some downsides, and anybody that knows more about tractors than me, which is probably 99% of the people that would be curious about a video about this, your kidneys are not going to thank you. These tires were wherever they were filled by the factory, except for this one, or your dealership, and I could drive around on my relatively flat driveway here without really noticing it. And with air in the tires, it was just fine. With water in the tires, it's beaten up my back, which is fun. I actually don't go very fast, as some people that watch most of my videos may know. I think I'm not yet to my 4th fill up, and so I don't push this thing very hard at all. I've had it for months, and I still haven't ran the last bit of my 3rd fuel up through it. So I'm not a lead foot with the tractor at all. And it's still, even the speeds that I was doing before are not as manageable. I'm sure I'll get used to it. Pain is weakness leaving the body, or the sign that you had weakness there to begin with. Army quotes. Anyway, so as you can see, the one bad thing about the heavy hitch tooth bar is that it does leave a lot of stuff in your bucket. That's due to the little back plate here, which is about that thick. Regardless, though, it's absolutely worth it. And with this, and with the added weight where I need it in the back of the tractor here, we are a completely different machine now. And I am eager to see how it's going to handle rocks. We did not have the greatest time moving a lot of these rocks. A lot of back tires coming up off the ground, just not enough weight. But with these guys, and I mean, there's a little bit of weight on the back with this guy, and it is farther out, which is, as the Greeks know, that's where you're going to want to have weight, is far away from the fulcrum, which is my front tires. And we'll soon be having our 70 pounders. My dealership hasn't called me, or I've screened their number, because I am not the guy to call if you want to sell something to, especially the car insurance, car part insurance, or whatever the heck that stuff is, or refinancing. Telemarketers. But yeah, this thing is a completely different machine, especially since I bought it. So if I could do it all over again, day one, this thing would be showing up with a tooth bar, either on it or on its way, or actually delivered. How about that? I'd probably have the receiver back here already. The hitching can is nice. It's one of my reoccurring tasks, and that's kind of a big deal for me. I like to have reoccurring tasks that the tractor can handle that make my life just a little bit easier. Let's see, what else did we get? The pallet fork frames aren't seeing the same use. They're great. I would still buy them. However, it's with the tooth bar on it, especially with these nice teeth, I don't need to dig with it anymore. The ripper tooth, that's probably still going to get a lot of use, actually. It's not very good for what I initially started trying to use it for in the backyard before I broke my grade 2 bolt. However, I will be laying some pipe in the front yard so that I don't have to be out here watering and stepping all over my grass, which is of course not good for it. And that's probably going to be the correct tool for that job. I don't know if it'll be the perfect tool. I probably should have got the longer one if I was going to do that. But yeah, so what else? I think if I could do it all over again, I would also probably throw a little bit more down and get the backhoe so that my payment would be pretty close to what it is now. The backhoe I was talked out of by almost everybody until I'd bought the tractor, and then everybody's like, "You didn't get a backhoe? Well, but you're moving rocks." And I was like, "Okay, I'm not sure what's going on anymore, and I'm really wanting to choke." But you know, I probably wouldn't. I might even let the water out of my tires if I do get a backhoe, because the amount of ballast that something like that would provide is just orders of magnitude more than this, and I just probably don't need that much. But the fun thing is it's, now that I've done it, and now that I see how it's done, it's not going to be some sort of a hypothesis that it's going to work, or have so many unknowns that I might not be able to overcome. I've got all the tools I need. I can get this thing in the air. I've got a bead seater if things go kind of sideways on me. I have the air compressor to fill up these tires, probably both of them, before it kicks on. I've got the stuff to get it in the air. I know all the pitfalls that you could possibly encounter with this thing, and that's huge. That really is. So yeah, brave new year with the 2038. Finally pretty much have everything that I need, minus a backhoe. Kind of a side note, since I threw water in these tires, perhaps we should show you kind of what that does. So here we have one of my little girl Muscovies, and I do declare the duck. And here we have little pink flowers on my peach tree, and somebody grinding metal over there. Yeah, I took a huge bite out of this thing, and I didn't have to resort to doing it intelligently, as you can tell. And I just buried that rock that I broke up with my brother. And that one, yeah, don't count that one, because that's what four-wheel drive will do to your lawn if you are partially just not paying attention, and partially don't care because this grass is not going to live through probably either the next month or the month after that. But very little slippage. Normally, and this is probably mostly before the tooth bar as well, attacking a stack of dirt like this was something of an art. I couldn't just come in and lift out, and that's kind of what I did here. Is I just drove straight into the stack with on high and without four-wheel drive initially, and I went in and I probably got more than plenty of a bucket full. But I wanted to see what the tires could do, especially on slippery dirt. And yeah, it went right through that stack like it wasn't even there. The ballast, the weighted down back tires, they really made a huge difference. And though I did end up engaging four-wheel drive right around there, it's probably not necessary, especially if you kind of come at it like, I don't want to rip up my yard, and I don't want to just try to brute force a pile of dirt, because in all reality you don't want to. You're going to want to do this right. And but I was testing and it worked. It's definitely harder on my kidneys going around on the ground, and it doesn't seem to have the ability to kind of stay straight and feel safe. I'm sure that it's actually safer, but without the sponginess of the air in the tires, if there was a bump, the whole tractor went lurching to the side, even more so than tractors normally do. And as you can see coming down here, I actually back drug right here to kind of flatten my stack out, and I didn't slip, but I definitely tore up the grass. If you're looking to mow, it might be worth it to, I don't know. I mean, if you do it right and the grass isn't brand new, it's probably fine. I wasn't attempting to save any damage to my grass because this stuff, it got enough water in spring. As soon as it gets hot out, all this is going to die. There's not enough dirt on the ground to keep this stuff in place anyway, and this all just turns into kind of rocky dirt. And the grass is just kind of hiding that fact from you right now, and there's just no way for me to water all of this enough to keep the grass alive, so I'm not going to spare it anything. Now up there, particularly where you don't see grass, is where it actually stays throughout the summer, and that's where I would be careful with my tractor. You know, it's not a push mower. It weighs something. The dry weight of a 2038 is about 2,400 pounds. So now that I've got water in the tires, I've got the heavy hitch on, I've got, you know, the loader, which I don't think is actually included in that 2,400 pounds. It's up there. It's a heavy piece of equipment. And if your grass is not healthy with very thick sod, you're going to shred it while you're trying to mow it, which is going to be really bad for it. But I might think twice about filling your tires up with water if you're going to mow. I mean, if you're careful, you can probably do it, and if you're a better tractor driver than me, you can probably do it, but I don't know if I can. So there's some questions now. It's not a huge deal to put a little water in the tire and take it out, but I don't know if I'm going to want to do it. Not again. But it's not a major operation. I think we were first try goes with maybe 2 hours. I don't know, but yeah, it's a different machine now, and it's a better machine in my opinion. So choose your own adventure with that one. If you're looking for weight and you don't care how, that's a lot of weight. Good times.